Hi everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 in continuation from our part 1 introduction to nail stamping. If you have not yet seen that video, I will make sure to link that down below. In part 1, we went over what nail stamping is, the tools necessary, and I did provide a few little tips and tricks, but I really wanted to take the time in this video, being part 2, to go more further into detail about stamping plates, stampers, as well as stamping polishes. So just a heads up, there will be a part 3 coming out, and that will be the final video of our introduction to nail stamping, and in that video will consist of tips and tricks on how to get the image to transfer from the plate to the nail, different ways you can use your stamper, as well as a very basic final demo. So laid out here, I have a few various brands of stamping plates that I just naturally gravitate towards because I feel that they work best for me. I feel like stamping plates and things like that are a very personal thing, and some plates that I like could be plates that some others don't like. So this is just personally what works for me, and I'll be going over, of course, the brand names, what they retail for, the sizes of the plates, and the actual dimensions of the images, which is going to help you if you're looking to purchase plates, if this is a new technique that you're looking to get into, that there's different sizing of plates that are targeted towards longer nails as well as shorter nails. So the first brand that we're going to get into is a brand called Born Pretty Store, and everything on their website is priced very inexpensively and they ship free worldwide. Now the one thing about them, and it bothers me, but I continue shopping from them just because the prices are dirt cheap and they ship for free with no minimum purchase. You can like literally order one thing and they will ship it absolutely free of charge. So their shipping times, there's been times where I've waited a couple of weeks, anywhere from a couple of weeks to maybe 2 months, almost 3 months for my packages. So I mean, shipping time is kind of questionable, but if you don't mind waiting, then it's great to shop from there. They have a bunch of other different things, like, well, I just mainly purchase like nail art related things, but they have a slew of different categories of things that you can purchase from. So we have 3 different plates, 2 rectangular ones as well as 1 circular one. This circular one retails for $2.99 US, and these rectangular ones retail for $5.99 US. Now the rectangular plates, the dimensions run 12.5 centimeters by 6.5 centimeters, and there's 2 rows of images. Now usually any plates from any brand that are rectangled in this size, which 9 times out of 10 when you're getting plates that are rectangular like this, doesn't matter which brand, they're all going to be roughly the same size, 12.5 by 6.5. All the plates that are of this size in this video that I'll be sharing with you guys are the same measurements, but the actual image size differs and varies a little bit. So this is a 2-rowed image plate, which is targeted more so for people with larger nails. I typically have much longer nails, so as you can see, I'm putting my nail up there in comparison, and you can see how much excess image would not get transferred onto the nails, which would be even more terrible for people with much shorter nails than I have. The actual image size dimensions is 2.5 centimeters in height by 1.5 centimeters in width, which is a really good size, and I'm quite comfortable with that, especially when my nails are longer. It works very nicely. So the next plate I want to share with you guys is the same size rectangular plate, but the only difference is there's 3 rows of images and they're smaller and much more condensed, and these sizing of images are targeted more so for people with small nails. Now, my personal take on my nails is that they're on the shorter side right now. I prefer them longer, but I feel like my nails are short enough that I can perhaps get away with using this. Now, these image sizes range 1.6 centimeters in height by 1.4 centimeters in width. And when you compare both plates, you can see that is a vast difference in the sizing of the image, which is really great that they cater towards different nail sizes. Keeps everyone happy. I mean, when I originally purchased this plate, I didn't know the differences in sizings and that it mattered. I just thought, I didn't really know much about it. So hopefully little tips like that can help you guys if anyone who's watching is new to nail stamping, and you know, hopefully this is helping you guys in some form or another. So when I purchased this plate, I had much longer nails, so obviously upon receiving it and seeing how teeny tiny these were, I was left in a little bit of a disappointment, but it's okay because when I do get a few breaks on my nails and I file them down, I'm able to use this plate, and I really love the images on this plate. So moving on to the circular plate, you have 5 images that are more so targeted towards a full like designed for the nail, as well as it's surrounded with single images that you can use as an accent nail. And again, those little single images are not meant to cover the entirety of your nail, just meant to be a cute little accent design. So I really like Born Pretty sword plates. I don't really have that much anything negative to say about the plates. I've always had a really fantastic experience with them, and the pickup of the images has always been solid for me, so I highly recommend Born Pretty sword plates. If you don't mind waiting almost an eternity for it to get there. Because sometimes it takes a long time, so just be patient and it will be worth it, I swear. So moving on, we have a brand called Moyu London. They are based in the UK. I believe they only sell rectangle size plates, and they retail for $5.99 in the UK currency. So to figure out what that's actually priced at in your currency, just go to Google and type in, like for example, I'm Canadian, so I would type in UK to Canadian and it would pop up, and it's just like an automatic calculator converter. So I believe in Canadian dollars these are about $11 or $12, around that range. Again, being a rectangular plate, the dimensions is the same, 12.5 by 6.5. That's very average and very common amongst different brands with rectangular plates. Now, the same as Born Pretty store, how they have the two different types of plates. You know, one type of plate having the 2 rows with much larger images, and then 3 rows with much smaller and condensed images. Moyu London offers the same type of thing. Unfortunately, I don't have a plate to show you that has the 3 rows of images, and I only have the larger ones because that's what works best with me. So the actual dimensions of the image sizes, now on their website, as far as height, they claimed it to be 2 centimeters. I actually did take a ruler to all these plates and measured them myself just to make sure that what they were advertising the sizing as was in fact correct. So they marketed as 2 centimeters, where in fact I measured it to 2.2 centimeters. So that's like a 2 millimeter difference, which, you know, not that big, but still like 2 millimeters, come on. So 2 centimeters in height by 1.5 centimeters in width, and if I put my nail up to that, you guys can see I still have lots of excess space. So I mean, my nails are still growing, but this is an absolutely beautiful plate that I still haven't yet played with, and I just love the overlapping images and just the contrast of different patterns. I think it's super cute. So here's another style of stamping plate. This is again from Moyu London. This isn't a plate where you have to really keep in mind the sizing of your nail, because these are just like separate single line images that you can play around and kind of pair them how you will with whatever you want, as well as single like floral images. And this caters to all different shapes because they're just single, and you can just put them on the nail and it will fit any nail size really for the most part. So I just kind of want to share with you how they offer different plates. You're not always only going to see plates like this with just divided like little rectangular images. There's a ton of different style of plates, which I'm going to be sharing with you today. Here's another style of plate from Moyu London, where this is a lingo plate, and it's just like little phrases based around like Italian sayings, and I have an Italian background, so of course I had to get this plate. Now these are just little single images that are meant to just be a little accent single image on the nail, not meant to cover the entirety of your nail. So again, plates like this are catered for people with any size nail really. So I really love Moyu London plates. I think they are etched really well. I've never had any issues with the quality, and my images just pick up beautifully and crisp, just the way I like it. So moving on, we're getting into a brand called a Bundle Monster, and I have 3 different plates to share with you from them. I believe they're located in they are located in the US, and they offer these circular plates as well as these rectangular plates, and they have square plates, but I don't have any of those to share with you guys, or else I would have shared that. But these plates, so this rectangular plate retails for $4.99 US, and these circular plates retail for $1.99. Again, the same size dimensions, 12.5 by 6.5 centimeters. As far as the dimensions of the image, it is 2.3 centimeters in height by 1.4 centimeters in width. Comparison with my nail, it's a really good size. I actually really like this plate. These 3 images right here are the images that I use the most. Wow, I can't even speak. I really love really pretty, simple floral images. Again, this is a 2-row styled plate, so again, this is targeted more so for people with longer nails, so just keep that in mind. So shown here is a buffet style plate. In a buffet style plate, all it is a plate that has an entire scenery going on, and a ton of stamping plate brands carry plates in this buffet style. So I mean, you have a whole lot going on. You can pick and choose which part of the plate that you want to place on the nail, and this isn't necessarily a plate that is catered more so for long nails or short nails. It can be catered for both, and you have a lot of options with plates like this. Lastly, we have a brand called Lena Nail Art Supplies. She is a newer stamping plate brand located within the US. Now, it comes in a sleeve, which is awesome, and her plates retail for $14.99 US, being the most expensive out of all the plates that I had just mentioned, but you do get a lot more images in this plate versus these plates. I mean, look, you get 30 images on here versus what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 images here, and then you have 30 here, so you get a lot. So it's quite the difference, and her plates are fantastic. You get a lot of variety. So the size dimension runs 14.5 centimeters by 9.5, and the actual image sizing is 2.2 centimeters in height by 1.7 centimeters in width. Let's put my nail up to an image and you can see for comparison. It's a very good size. I really like her plates, great quality. So she has plates like this. All the plates she currently has are all larger plates, and they're all filled with images, and she does have, like, it's the same type of plate, but instead of having all these little rectangular images, she has plates like this where instead of having all of those, she has single images going down either the middle row or like the bottom last quarter of the plate. So you have, like, you know, each plate is a little bit different, but I mean, I have about 16, I want to say, of her plates, and I absolutely love her plates a lot. So I have 2 videos that I posted, one being a nail art tutorial using her stamping plates and layering a bunch of images. I'll link that video down below, as well as the video where I reviewed one of her newer plates, and she has this blank image in the middle, and it's perfect if you want to achieve a gradient effect on your nails with nail stamping versus doing it with a sponge. So I go into detail about that as well, and I'll make sure to link those videos down below if you guys would like to see those. As well, if you feel like purchasing Lena plates, I will include my coupon code linked down below. I am in no way affiliated, like, I don't get any monetary compensation for you guys using my coupon code. It's just solely to save you guys a few dollars if you wish to use it. If you don't, I'm totally okay with that, but it's more so for you guys than it is for me. So we wanted to detail about stamping plates, and I hope that was enough detail for you guys. If you guys have any other question regarding stamping plates, feel free to comment down below, and I'm always more than happy to respond to your guys' comments. Actually, I love when you guys comment down below and I get to talk to you guys and interact. So next we're going to move on to nail stampers. So we have 3 stampers here that I'm going to be going over, some very ridiculously cheap, and one of them is really expensive, and I have one that falls nice and comfortably right in the middle of those 2 price points. So I feel like when picking a stamper, it's very personal because you have to kind of play around with what you feel is going to work best for you, what you're comfortable with. Now stampers, I have 2 clear styles here as well as an opaque one. Now stampers, you know, these heads are mainly made out of silicone. Well, not mainly, they all are made out of silicone, I think. And they have different levels of squishiness. Some are much more squishy and like marshmallow-like, some are more firm. It really varies, and from my experience, now I don't have terribly C-curved nails where my nails are rounded. Some people have flatter nail beds, mine's have that curve to it. As you can see, my nails curve. So when I'm using a stamper that is extremely like marshmallow squishy, it is really easy for that image to warp when I transfer it on the nails because it's too squishy. So I found that I prefer using a stamper that has like a medium squish, and all these stampers make me really happy for different reasons. So now, okay, so when I first started stamping, and I unfortunately don't have my original Conad stamper, it was absolutely terrible. It was so hard to use, but at that time, that's the only thing I knew, and that's what I knew how to use. But over time, stamping and stampers or sorry, stampers have evolved and it's just turned into a much better quality. Thank you, nail polish gods. So over here, this is a clear stamper from a Born Pretty store. This retails for $4.99, but it's typically on sale for $2.99. Just like the stamping plates, Born Pretty store 9 times out of 10 has a sale going on. And this is a much smaller stamper. This measures in at 2.8 centimeters in diameter all around. And the great thing about these clear ones is it's very easy to get a precise placement of the image on the nail, which is something I struggled with before clear stampers came out. Before, all stampers were opaque like this, and I always personally had troubles getting the images to line up straight on my nails. Some images require a really skilled eye and just kind of making sure you get things precise. I'm very particular, and when I wouldn't get it straight on, I would take it off and redo it and get very annoyed. So stampers like this, for the most part, you'll see them paired with scrapers that look like this. Throw them out, they're garbage, I don't like them. Well, again, hey, I'm not trying to offend anyone. There's people out there who perhaps like these scrapers, but I don't know, they just don't really do much for me. So I personally prefer scrapers like this. They're very flimsy and they just give me a better, well, first of all, look at the sizing difference. It's much bigger. Now, I will say, and I don't have that scraper also, but when scrapers first came out, they looked a lot like this, but instead of a plastic scraper edge over here, it was a metal, and that was so terrible because it would always leave you with scratching the plates. Now, here is a Conad plate, one of my older plates, and you can, hopefully the camera's picking up all those scratches. So this was the brand of plates that I used to use when I first started stamping, and had that terrible stamper and metal scraper, and every time you would scrape, it would just scratch the hell out of my plate, which thankfully now, just like everything else, it has evolved. I have another scraper which I'm kind of bummed out and I can't find right now. It was the scraper that came with this stamper, and oh my god, it's so awesome. It's a lot more firm than this. It's a little bit smaller, still comfortable to hold and use, but definitely firmer. This one is very flimsy, and this scraper came with this stamper. Now this stamper, this is the Creative Shop stamper. When this first came out, everyone and their mom was just going crazy about it. When this first came out, you guys, I paid $30 for this stamper, and mind you, my holder is kind of, it was like a thing for people to like decorate it, and I tried to water marble it. That only worked out so much, as you can see. And yeah, this is good. Like, I really like it, and it's a rather large head in comparison to this. This is, oh my god, I don't know the dimensions. Yeah, I don't know the dimensions of this one, but I mean, no, it's smaller than this one. Anyways, yeah, this transfers really nicely. It's a little bit sticky, but again, just because you can't see through it, I opt out to not really use this very often because I prefer having the precision that I have with these types of clear stampers. So yes, did I mention the Born Pretty store was $2.99? I did, I mentioned that. So moving forward, we have one which is now my personal new favorite. This is from a brand called the Clear Jelly Stamper. Now this is important. This is the brand that first launched a clear stamper ever. Like, before this one, before anyone, like I have another one here, like, I mean, before any stampers, this was the brand that came out with the idea, and then every brand just kind of hopped on board and made their own versions of it. So this is their newer stamper, and this is called the Big Bling XL. The Big Bling, I mean, you got bling. It's just so aesthetically beautiful to look at. This is a plastic casing, and yes, the head is very large. You just pop off the protective caps on either end, and this gives you such a clear view when transferring that image in comparison to this itty bitty one. Now this one from Born Pretty store, love it, hands down, has never failed me. This stamper is absolutely amazing. Excuse me. And even when my nails are at its longest, like, it works really well, but the only problem is because it's much smaller in diameter, it tunnels in a little bit, just very slightly. But this one, because this one, The diameter of this one is 1.12 inches, so it is obviously much larger, and you're not going to get that tunneling effect, and you're seeing a very clear image in placement, which is awesome. So the clear jelly stamper retails for $10.50 US, Born Pretty store $2.99, and at the time this was $30, which now you can get this at a much more discounted price. So again, you have options with stampers, and again, if you're starting out, honestly, when people ask me what stamper, I will forever recommend this Born Pretty store stamper. It has never ever failed me. Like, it has always just been amazing, and I love it to pieces. Now, when using clear stampers like this, you have to be careful because they are, like, the heads themselves are a lot more delicate than these types of stamping heads are. So I have some old like stampers where I push too hard into the nail and it pushes too far in, and you eventually get little dents. So preferably when you're transferring images, like, don't push with like all your force going down. You just want to gently either push down or actually roll the image across, versus just like using all your force and like perhaps taking the chance of crumbling your stamper head. Now, again, these are clear heads, so when caring for them, when you're transferring the polish onto the nail, and you might have some excess polish on the head, you do not, and I repeat, you do not want to use acetone, because acetone is going to cloud the how clear your stamper head is. And also, if you get acetone generally to these plastic things, it is going to ruin it. It's gonna fog it up. So you just kind of want to make sure that you don't use any acetone on these, and just care for your stampers. So when you have excess polish on here, I recommend, like I said, do not use acetone. I always have a lint roller near me, so I just take my, let's get it. Kind of dirty, as you can see, because I've been using it for its intended purposes, not really for nail stamping, and I just roll like that. And not that I have polish on here now, but just roll it and the excess polish does come off like a breeze. You can either use a lint roller or tape, whatever works best for you. I also think that the clear jelly stampers are really great for people who are starting out, because you're not going to be having the same struggles that I was having with stampers like this, where you can't see where you're placing it and you have to like line up your nails to the image and then push down. Like this, you can just see through and boom, push, and you're done. So that's all the information I really have on stampers and how to care for them. The biggest part, do not use acetone with them, just because they're very fragile. You want to ensure that, you know, the bodies of them don't get fogged, because that's what's going to allow the light to come through so you can see what you're doing, you know? So now we're moving on to stamping polishes, and these differ from regular polish in the sense that stamping polishes are formulated in the sense of being 5 times more opaque versus regular polish, and you're gonna get more color payoff versus regular nail polish when pairing it with nail stamping. Now I have a few different brands here, Conad being this one right here. I used these when I first started stamping, and they've always been great to me. Well, more so the white and the black. I do have a few colors from them that I'm not too thrilled about. I don't find them to be that opaque, especially when working on a darker colored base and then stamping over that. I don't feel like the other colors that I own transfer very well, but the white and black have always been a favorite of mine. Then we have a Born Pretty store, and I absolutely love these polishes. I actually got sent 2 for review a while back, and I enjoyed them enough that I purchased the entire 19-piece collection off of eBay for, I believe, $60 Canadian. I think these retail for about $5.99 US on their website, and sorry, the Conad, I want to say typically around $10 a pop. And if anything, I actually prefer the Born Pretty store ones over the Conad. I mean, they're both great. It's just, I don't know. I mean, if you can get something at a lower price point that works just as well, then why not? So moving on, we have Moyu London. Now, Moyu London, in Canada, I purchased these at a local shop. I want to say they were around $10. $11.99. They were $11.99, and you know, the black one works okay. I have a few other colors And some of them work really well. I have a purple one called Purple Rain. It works really well. Turquoise Mint works really well. But then I have some colors like a yellow and like a nude color, and they just work terribly. Like, they don't have enough pigmentation to really pop over a darker base, which is really disappointing because I didn't purchase these for regular nail polish to use. I purchased these to use in conjunction with nail stamping. So that was a little bit disappointing, but yes, I mean, for the white and the black ones that I do own, I like them. I use white and black mostly. I do have a lot of colors, especially from Born Pretty store like I mentioned, but you know, I typically stay with white and black. Then we have this new one. I actually got this from Clear Jelly Stamper. This is an itty bitty one, and this works really, really well. And I don't really mind that it's mini just because you use very little of it, but I still would prefer it to come in a larger bottle like this. I'm not entirely sure. I believe these are 5 ml bottles. I haven't really referred back to the website, but I'm pretty sure they are 5 ml and they work wonderfully. Now, we have an Essie polish, which is not formulated for stamping, but they're metallics. I've become a huge fan of, and they stamp brilliantly. Now, for the most part, anything metallic is going to stamp well. So this is a mainstream polish, and it stamps really nicely over any base that I've used. And I have about 4 or 5. I have 4. I'm like looking at my rack over there. I have 4 of these for stamping, and I absolutely love them. Now, you can use regular polish for stamping, but I mean, all polishes are going to work, but they're not going to be as intensely pigmented the way stamping well, I should say a good stamping polish is formulated to do. For drugstore polishes, I really recommend the Sally Hansen Insta-Dry line. Their polishes are formulated really well. They're a little bit on the thicker side, so with polishes that are thicker, they are going to be much more pigmented. Also, if you're just experimenting with the polishes that you already own, just make sure to work with creams that have a much more thicker of a consistency, preferably creams that you like that are maybe 1 coaters. Now, when you have a white polish base, any polish is going to show over that, but when you're working with anything darker and you're using regular polish, depending on the formula, it might not be as vivid of a final result, but it will still work, just not as well. So I personally like using specially formulated stamping polishes. I don't feel like playing around with regular polish just because, I don't know, like stamping polishes is just much different. They're formulated to work with stamping, and I really like the fact that especially these Born Pretty Store ones, I absolutely love them. I can layer a bunch of different images onto the nail and have them overlapping and still have each color look as vivid. So I think that wraps up just about everything with stamping polishes. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer as best as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed part 2 of our nail stamping series. Again, there will be a part 3 coming up very shortly, hopefully sometime this week. And again, in that video, we'll be going over tips and tricks and how to get the image from the plate to be transferred onto your nails, as well as ending that video off with a very basic demo. So if there's any specific videos that you guys would like to see me create, whether it be another basics video on a certain nail art technique, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to make them. After our nail stamping series is done, I will be looking into more ideas for basics videos. I plan to do my nail care routine and share with you guys an easy way how to keep your nails well manicured in the comfort of your own home, and just a bunch of different topics for beginners. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. And remember, creativity is at your fingertips.